China is set to impose retaliatory tariffs on U.S. imports, and the Trump administration has reportedly fired the director of the National Security Agency. Good morning, I'm Corva Coleman from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. Stock markets in Asia and Europe dropped sharply today, reacting to yesterday's enormous losses on Wall Street. This morning in pre-market trading, Dow Jones Industrial Average futures are down by more than 1,100 points. These drops come after President Trump announced worldwide tariffs. NPR's Scott Horsley has more.
Trump has ordered tariffs that are not only higher but also broader than those we've seen before. He's planning to tax all kinds of things that we do not and cannot produce at scale here, like tropical fruit. Even with global warming, I don't think we're going to start growing a lot of bananas in the U.S. So we're going to import the bananas, but Americans are going to pay more for them, and nervous shoppers have already started to dial back their spending.
NPR's Scott Horsley reporting. Meanwhile, China is hitting back. NPR's John Ruwitch reports Beijing will impose tit-for-tat tariffs on U.S. goods.
In coordinated statements, government ministries laid out the details of China's retaliation, which sharply escalates the trade war between the world's two biggest economies. The finance ministry will impose a 34% tariff on all U.S. imports. That's the same rate that the Trump administration imposed on China during Wednesday's so-called Liberation Day global tariff blitz. China's tariffs take effect on April 10th. The Ministry of Commerce is adding 16 U.S. entities to an export control list and 11 to a so-called unreliable entities list, effectively blacklisting them. It also said it's imposing export controls on a handful of rare earth minerals, making it harder for American companies to buy them. And China's Customs Department is suspending farm product import qualifications for several American companies. John Ruwitch, NPR News, Beijing.
One group that is celebrating the new Trump tariffs is Gulf Coast shrimpers. Stephen Bisaha of the Gulf States Newsroom reports that shrimpers have long complained that cheap imports have harmed their industry.
About 80% of all seafood consumed in the United States is imported, and a big portion of that is foreign shrimp. Shrimp that U.S. fishers say is subsidized, driving down prices and driving them out of business. Bosarge Boats in Pascagoula, Mississippi, has been in Leanne Bosarge's family for generations. She believes that tariffs will give Southern shrimpers an even playing field.
It makes us feel like we finally have somebody looking out for the little guy, and we may be able to continue a heritage that we're very proud of and feed our country.
India is the largest exporter of shrimp to the United States and now faces a 27% tariff. For NPR News, I'm Stephen Bisaha in Birmingham, Alabama.
The top Democrats on the Senate and House Intelligence Committees are expressing outrage over the reported firing of the director of the National Security Agency. The New York Times and the Washington Post are reporting that President Trump has fired NSA Director General Timothy Hawk and his deputy. The reports say Hawk was dismissed after Trump met with far-right activist Laura Loomer, although that has not been independently confirmed by NPR. NPR's Domenico Montanaro reports that President Trump was asked about the firings yesterday.
Trump denied that Loomer was the reason for these firings. He said that she actually made recommendations for additions, but Loomer herself posted on X, one of the many platforms that she'd been banned from before Elon Musk bought it, that she did report to Trump people who she sees as disloyal, not to the country or Constitution, but to him.
NPR's Domenico Montanaro reporting. This is NPR.